Welcome everybody to today's J-Fire Diamond training. My name is Tracy Seacombe and I'm a Ruby Director with Jeunesse. I've been with Jeunesse for 3.5 years and the residual income that we have created for our family is just incredible and has changed our lifestyle to one where we get to choose how we spend our time and we get to spend it with so many beautiful people like yourselves. So thank you very much for coming on today. It's my pleasure to be able to share this training with you today. So my training today is called Duplication because it's so important for people to understand exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve in this business. So first of all, you need to come back to that very, very important question, and that is, why are you doing this business? Now, if you're doing this business for a little bit of upfront cash, then you are going to enjoy getting customers into your business. You can sell the product to them retail, or you can bring them on as wholesale customers. But if part of the reason that you joined this business is because you would like to grow residual income, then you must understand duplication and know exactly how to apply it. So that's what this training is about today. So what I first want to start to talk to you about is the whole idea of residual income. Now, if you haven't read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I suggest that you do, by Robert Kiyosaki. It's a fantastic place to start so that you understand residual income. I would also recommend his book, The Business of the 21st Century, which focuses on network marketing and why it's such an incredible business model for residual income. But one of the definitions that he will share with you in both Rich Dad, Poor Dad and in the 21st business, the business of the 21st century, is the definition of an asset. Now, a lot of people think that the home that they live in is an asset, but it's not when you use Robert's definition. Robert's definition says that an asset creates income. So if you have, for an example, a property that is positively geared, then that is an asset. A car is not an asset unless it's an antique or something that is going to grow in value, but unless it's bringing income in, even capital gains is not considered an asset. So the beautiful thing about the model of network marketing is that you are creating a network of people, and that is an asset because that network of people is going to create income. So that's why you need to understand duplication and how to do it. So let's talk about why we should duplicate. So here is an example. Now, I'm not suggesting that you just enroll 6 people. I'm using these numbers just to give you a mathematical example so that you can see why leveraging and duplicating is so important. So if you enroll 100 people, you have 100 people in your organisation. Let's say that those 100 people buy 60 CV of auto ship every month. So you've done really well because every single person that you enroll stays on auto ship. You are going to get volume of 6,000 CV every month from that hard work of enrolling those 100 people. Now let's compare with that, and let's say that we enroll 6 and every single one of those 6 duplicate and they duplicate again. So when you're teaching people to duplicate, you're teaching them to enroll, but you're also teaching them to tap people into the system so that they enroll as well. So if you do this, if you enroll 6, you'll have 6 people on your level 1. If they go out and enroll 6, you'll have 36 people on your level 2. If those 36 go out and enroll 6, you'll have 216 people on your level 3. And if those 216 people go out and enroll 6, you will have 1,296 people on your level 4, which is a total of 1,554 people. Now, if every single one of those people are on auto ship, then you're going to get 93,240 CV every month coming up to you. Now, if you can imagine turning that into dollars, you can see how much more lucrative this is because of the leverage of numbers. So this is the first reason that duplication is so important, is because of the power of leverage. The next reason that you want to duplicate is because if your goal is residual income, then you don't want another job. So would you like to manage 100 people? That is a job. That is owning a business where you have to continue to work and work and work. Or would you like to manage just 6 people where you've taught them everything you know and then they manage 6, who manage 6, who manage 6? And again, we're just using examples here of numbers, but this is why duplication is so important, because to create residual income, you want to create this power of duplication where you're managing a handful of leaders who are then managing their leaders, and that just flows on as it duplicates. The next reason that it's really important to duplicate is so that you multiply your contacts. Now, if you just share the story with 100 people and you haven't tapped them into the system and you haven't duplicated, then you don't get to meet their contacts because they have just come on as customers and they don't know about the business or how to do the business, so you never get to meet their contacts. So if you are going to introduce everybody to the whole story and tap them into the system, then not only are you going to talk to the 100 people or more that you know, but you are going to be tapped into those people's contacts. So if you know 100 people and they know 100 people, all of a sudden your contact list has expanded to 10,000 people. So you need to have this duplication system, otherwise you're never going to get to reach those contacts. Have you ever thought that you'd love to clone yourself? You know, if your life is really busy, and most people will say they're really busy, wouldn't it be great if you had another one of you, or even another 5 or 6 of you? You know, somebody who could be cleaning the house, doing the shopping, doing the washing, running the kids around, all of those errands. This is why we duplicate. You're creating a business where you're creating people who can do what you do. This is not about being the star of the show. This is not about you being the best. What you want to do is be the best that you can be and then teach and help to develop other people to be the best that they can be. And that way you're going to make sure that you get this duplication, reaching out to more and more people. Duplication allows people to start faster. Now, the way that you enroll someone is setting the pace, and that is going to be duplicated. If you're a parent, then you would be well aware that your children will often do what you do rather than what you say. So you are setting the example from day one in the method that you use to prospect and in the method you use to enroll. So always keep that in mind. Use best practice from day one so that you are tapping people into the system even when you're prospecting them. If you make it look really hard, if you go and have coffee with them and you've become an expert and you sit there and give them all the information, they are going to sit there and think, can I do this? You've got to make sure that the simple system that we have is being displayed through this process so that as they ask that question to themselves, they're thinking, well, yes, I can do that. You've shared me a link, you've followed me up, you've taken me to the full story in this way of a live webinar or a live event or a 3-way phone call, and then you've followed up with an introduction to the whole team so I can see how much support there is, and I know that I could do this and I'm going to have lots of support. So that's why we should duplicate. But how do we duplicate? Well, very simply, the best way to get duplication is to stick to the system. The most common question I get is, what do I do? How do I do it? And the answer is always the same. Learn the system and follow the system on repeat. You know, I've always been impressed when I listen to the diamonds in our team explaining exactly what they do. And they will tell you that they prospect, they invite people to look at the information, they share the whole story, they enroll and they tap people into the system so that they know how to do the system and can get started, and then they repeat. So what we do is very, very straightforward. So make sure that you're very clear on the system and you just stick to it. Don't always look for a different way to reinvent the wheel, get outside of the system and do things differently. differently. This system works, and if you just stick to it and do it on repeat, the people that need to be in your business will show up. So the first thing that you need to do is prospect. Now, if you're new to the business, it's most important that you have an active candidate list. Now, this is basically your dream team list. All of the people that you plan to reach out to, connect with them, and invite them to have a look at this information. So this is your prospect list, your contacts list, and you must start in your warm market. So many people make the mistake of jumping into their cold market. Now, if you haven't been honest with yourself about why you do this, let me tell you. The reason that people jump into the cold market is because they are worried about the people who know them and what they might think about them. So one of the first hurdles you want to get over when you start this business is worrying about what other people think of you. Okay, it's none of your business. It doesn't matter what other people think, it matters what you think. So get very, very clear on why you're doing this business. Make sure that it just is so important to you and focus on that, and know that from the testimonials you've seen from others, this business model works and Janess works. So get that real belief, get that belief in the industry, get that belief in Janess, the products and the business model, and until you have your own success, reach out to those people who are successful so that you can get the belief from them. And most importantly, belief in yourself. So you can do this. Anybody who really wants it can do it if you're willing to do what it takes. And what it takes is discipline and repetition of using this system. So the prospecting starts with your warm market. So you've got your list, you put those go-getters, those entrepreneurial type people, those people who are willing to do what it takes, they have a happy, positive disposition, put those people to the top of the list and start with them. Now the next step is the bit where people get stuck, because you need to contact them. They're not going to call you. They don't know what you're doing. You need to reach out to them and make that connection. And all you're doing is inviting them to take a look. You're not asking them to join you. You're not asking them to try the products. You're not selling them anything. You are inviting them. It's just an invitation. Now, I know that every single person that's listening to this has invited somebody to something before. I'm sure you've had a party. I'm sure you've called your friends and invited them. You've invited people out to dinner. You've sent out invitations. Everybody knows how to invite. So you're going to get really, really good at inviting. And the next big question that I get is, what do I say? And it's such a good question to ask, and it's a very, very simple answer. Now, if I was working with you one-on-one and you asked me that, I would say to you, okay, well, I'm going to tell you the answer to that in a minute. But first of all, what I want to say to you is, how did you first hear about Janess? And they'll think about it and they'll tell me. And I'll say, okay, and what made you actually say yes to looking at the information? And they'll tell me the answer to that. My next question is, and why did you say yes to Janess? What is it that you saw when that information was shared with you that made you think, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take this on? And then they will answer me. And they'll say, and what is your vision now? What are your goals? What do you hope to achieve from this business? And then they'll explain that to me. And then I say, that's what you say. That's your story. Get really clear on your story. Get really good at sharing your personal story with others, because that is the conversation that you're going to have with people. You pick up the phone, you call somebody, and if you haven't seen them for a while, you catch up with them, listen to them, ask them questions, find out where they are in their lives, what's important to them, what are their goals, what are they trying to achieve, what's important, is it family, is it their career, is it writing a book, singing a song? What is it that's so important to them? And have they got everything in place, and are they on track to achieve those goals? Eventually, when the conversation turns around to you, share your story, explain to them what you've been up to. But most importantly, at some point you say, look, that's actually part of the reason that I'm calling you. I wanted to share with you that I've got involved with this business, share your story, and then say, would you be open to having a look at it and seeing what it's all about? So it's just a gentle invitation for somebody to take a look. The next step is to allow the experts to share the information. So this is not your cue to start talking about stem cells and to start talking about the compensation plan. This is really overwhelming and off-putting to people. All you've done is listen, ask questions, shared your story, and then invited them to take a look. If they say yes, then you're going to send them information. Now, the best way to do that is to pique their interest with a very, very simple, short video, and this is where the J Mobile app comes in. So you share that information and then you follow them up, see if they'd like to know more, and invite them on to a live event, a live webinar, a recorded webinar, a three-way call, a three-way coffee meeting, letting the experts share the information for you. Once the person enrolls, you want to teach them this exact same system, and you can share this training with them so that they know exactly what they need to do to get started in the business. So teaching the system is so important, and it's important to do it straight away. If you enroll somebody and then just let them go for a month, by the time you connect with them to teach them to the system, they might have actually talked themselves out of it. So what I do when somebody enrolls into my business, they often say to me, okay, what's next? And I say, well, look, you can expect to receive your products in 3 to 5 days. I'll send you the instructions on how to use the products. I'll send you the details of how to log into your back office of your website, but I'm also going to send you step 1 of the Getting Started training. Now, Aaron has a fantastic recorded webinar called the 15 Steps of Getting Started, and the first step is actually those first 7 steps. So it's what you should do in the first 48 hours. Now, I encourage people to do the first step in the first 48 hours if they can. And if they can't, of course, we just adapt to their timing. And then I book in the follow-up. This is so important. So many times people enroll someone into their business, send them the training, and then leave them. And they just leave them and let them go. You know, you want to create a professional system in this business and treat it like a business. You want to value your time, and you also want to value their time. So you're actually inviting them to get on with this first 7 steps. It'll only take them an hour to 2 hours in the first 48 hours, and then you book in a phone call where you're going to ring them up and go through those steps to make sure they've actually done them. Then you're going to lead them on to the next step, and with every step you follow them up and talk them through it. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is that everyone is different. So the way people respond to the system and the luck that they have or the success that they have when they first start will vary. So if people are struggling, then you want to really talk to them and ask them why they're struggling. What are you doing? What are you saying to people? Do some role playing with them. You know, get them really comfortable about how to communicate with somebody else. And if you don't feel confident about this yet, don't be embarrassed to reach out. I had a wonderful training session just recently with a lady who was very honest with me about her fear of picking up the phone. This is real. Okay, don't be embarrassed to share that with somebody. If you share it with somebody who's been through it themselves, they can help you get over that hurdle. Get to the bottom of what you're afraid of so that you can move forward. And you know, I think most commonly what people are afraid of is that they're actually making a mistake. It's where that belief system comes in. You need to really make sure that you work on your belief in your decision so that it's a powerful, definite decision. I'm 100% in. I'm not on the fence. I'm in. I'm doing this. I know I can do this. I believe in this industry, this system, this business, the people that I'm working with, the products. I believe in all of it, and I'm really doing it. And when you really feel like that, you can't wait to pick up the phone because you know you have something magic here that you can share with other people. It's really important for you to start the way that you're going to grow in this business because this is a great learning curve. Sometimes we have an expectation of someone that doesn't match their expectation. And this is why, as part of the first 7 steps that people will take, they're going to get clear on their goals and their why. So if somebody is just interested in using the products and you find that out after they've gone through step one, and maybe they'll share it with a few people here and there, but they're not interested in building a business that creates residual income, then you know how much time to give them. And so you can just be available to them when they need you. So it's very, very important for you to meet people in the middle. You ask them to go through the steps, then you book in the follow-up call. Make sure that your commitment is matching their commitment. You cannot resuscitate people. You cannot motivate people. People have to be self-motivated. You can inspire them, and you can set a great example, and you can teach them the system. But they have to be willing to actually tap into that system. Your goal is to make people independent in the first 90 days. Now, if they really honestly go through the whole 15 steps of getting started, they will be independent in the first month, because that's going to get them reading books about the network marketing industry, learning everything about their back office, learning the compensation plan. You know, you shouldn't still be getting these questions 6 months down the track if people have really committed to the system and done that training. So it will not be residual income if you continue to answer these questions. When people send these questions through, you send them back to where to find the answer. Everybody has their own business in Jeunesse and must take responsibility for actually finding this information for themselves. Make sure that you leverage your upline. Again, it's not about being the star of the show and just being the leader in your team. I see this so often when people want to just completely take control, and it's fantastic to be a leader, but you are going to be so much more successful if you're a follower at the same time. Bob Proctor, who is my mentor, says that you are always a follower and a leader at the same time. Have a mentor and be a mentor. So make sure that you're introducing your new team members to your upline. You can be introducing them as part of the prospecting and enrolling system. So after they've been to a live event or been on a webinar, you can do a three-way call and your upline will help you close them and get them into the business. If you are able to enroll them independently, then after you've enrolled them, make sure you introduce them to your upline. That way they're going to know exactly who they can tap into. If you're not a Sapphire yet, I suggest that you use the Sapphires and above in your upline for three-way calls. Once you get to Sapphire, then you can be the expert on the three-way calls. Make sure that you're involved in lots of three-way calls yourself so that you're learning from the expert on how to be the expert on the three-way call. It's a great learning experience. Make sure that you're using the webinars, the live events and the training videos. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. All of this is there for you. And do you know what? Sometimes when we're playing around and we're creating lovely, pretty PDFs and little training videos, we're actually procrastinating. You know, if you really want to look yourself in the mirror and be very honest, you know what you need to do. What you need to do is prospect. You need to reach out, bring people in, tap them into the system. So just be careful that you don't get caught up in busying yourself in all of these non-productive activities that are not really going to grow your business. So follow the leader and learn from those three-way calls so that you can eventually be the expert on three-way calls as well. Even once you are, you don't stop tapping into three-way calls with your upline. So I still use my upline for three-way calls, even though I'm the expert on three-way calls for my team. Create leaders. You know, the big picture of this whole business is to find 6 great leaders. You have 6 great leaders in your organisation, no matter what level they are. They don't have to be people you've introduced personally. But if you have 6 great leaders, you are going to go all the way with this business. Now, people will show up who have leadership qualities, but we are all innately leaders. We can create leaders, and this is probably one of the most joyful things for me in this business, is helping people find their true potential and express it. So you can set an example as a leader, but you can also create leaders by tapping them into the system and leading them to these training videos and teaching them exactly how to become a leader in the business. Listen when people are feeling stuck so that you can help them experience a shift. So what you want to do is become a sapphire yourself and create sapphires. So help your team members to enroll executives. So rather than just enrolling, moving on to the next one, enrolling, moving on to the next one, enrolling, if you're using the duplication system and you're tapping people into the system, then they are going to start enrolling quickly. I did a three-way call from someone today who I met for the first time 2 days ago. She joined the business last week and she had people on a three-way call with me today. That is the kind of momentum that you can build when you tap people into the system and get that duplication. She's not trying to reinvent the wheel. She's going to be an executive in a couple of days because she's out there doing it already, doing exactly what she's been taught, sharing her story, then sharing the whole story through the expert, and then getting them onto a three-way call. So it's really important for you to create executives rather than just enrolling and finding out that you just haven't actually had any duplication, and teach your team members to do the same. Launch their business. The best way to get somebody started is to help them launch their business. If you don't have the confidence to go along and present for them, or they're not local, get one of your uplines to either present live for them or to do a Zoom presentation. So Zoom into their living room and present at their launch that way. You can get people to Pearl, Jade or Pearl, after they launch their business. It's also a fantastic objective way for them to share what they're doing with their family and friends. You know, sometimes people are really scared about telling people closest to them what they're doing because they're afraid they're going to be judged. And there's a good chance they are going to be judged. You know, the people around us love us and they want to protect us. And so they're afraid of change, and they think, oh, you know, I know Tracy as this person. I don't know her as that person. And they're actually a little bit anxious about you becoming somebody new. So don't be put off by that. But honestly, you can get a much better response if you are letting somebody in your upline who is succeeding in this business share what this is all about with those people who are closest to you. So don't keep it a secret from them. Be proud, loud and proud, and launch your business, but do it in that fun way that's not intimidating, where people are in your home, you know, they're having a few nibbles and a drink, and it's just very relaxed, and somebody else presents the information for them. So help them launch their new business builders businesses as well. So you enroll somebody, they launch. They enroll people from that launch. Some of them are business builders, then you launch their businesses as well. The other way that you're going to get to Sapphire and create Sapphires is to ask customers for referrals. So even the people who have joined your business, they are showing up as a distributor and helping you rank advance in the fact that they've bought a package. They can also become an executive just by thinking of a couple of other people they know who would love to try a package of products. Once you have reached Sapphire, then your goal is very much about looking for leaders. So really look for people who are open to this business opportunity, who have had some experience in business, they're well respected in their community, they might be connected to this industry in some way, whether it's the health and fitness industry or the beauty industry, and really connect with them and share your story and your success so far. So the story that you started with when you first joined was all about how you ended up joining and what your vision is. That story is going to grow. It's going to be added to by your testimonial of product use, and it's going to be added to with your business success and what you love about the business. Maybe the personal growth, maybe the fact that you feel like you can stand up at a live event and give a 2-minute testimonial now, whereas maybe 3 months ago you would have been terrified about doing something like that. So just keep adding to your story, sharing it with more and more people every day, and inviting them to take a look and follow the system and tap your team into the system. So as you can see, it's a very, very simple business model. What we do on repeat is very, very straightforward. All you need to do is create goals and really be accountable. If you find it difficult to be accountable to yourself, get an accountability partner so that you can set your goals for the week and be accountable to them. But rather than having time goals, have action goals. So you might decide, for example, I'm going to reach out to 5 new people every day, Monday to Friday. I'm going to follow up 5 people each day who I've reached out to before. Whatever the numbers are, just fit them in with your lifestyle, but make those goals and commit to them. And you will get better and better at it the more that you practice. Thank you so much for coming on to this training session. I hope that you've enjoyed it and got something from it, and I wish you every success in your Jeunesse business.